Welcome to Third Floor Views, a production of Chesapeake Family Life, where we talk about health, education, and living with kids. I'm your host, Janet Jefferson. Today, we are talking about book recommendations, both as gifts and also for yourself. We'll learn about the best of 2021 and what to expect in the literary world in 2022. Joining us today are some of Anne Arundel County Public Librarians. We have Rachel Myers, branch manager at Discoveries. We also have Rebecca Hofleitner and Aurelia Larrimore, who are also librarian associates, and they are all at the amazing Discoveries, the library at the mall branch, which is doing some really innovative things, including hosting a weekly community pantry, COVID vaccines, and so much more. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that later as well. Thank you so much to all of you for joining me today. To our viewers, please feel free to submit any questions that you might have in the comment section, and we'll get to those as we can. Let's get started. So first, I just want to talk about some big picture stuff. What were some of the trends or themes that you saw in the 2021 releases? So Rachel, I'll ask you that question. So what did 2021 hold for us as readers?
Well, in the past year, we really saw both the book releases and what people were gravitating towards as kind of things that were comforting, whether that was self-help books to deal with everything that was going on in our world, or cozy mysteries to help you escape a little bit, but also feel comfortable in your world. We really found that a lot of those types of books were both being released and requested by customers. As always, there's always a lot of celebrity reads as well. So tying in with those podcasts or TV shows and making that connection between the books and the authors and the celebrities or the big TV show. Those are always big themes that we see in releases as well.
Yeah, I can imagine too, if people were looking for sort of comforting things, then that's also an area that people might gravitate towards in terms of celebrities or maybe other stories or movies that they were connecting with. So I know something that's come up recently within the book world, and I've had a few guests on to discuss it, is diversity in the literary world, both in terms of authors and in terms of the books and their subjects themselves. It's an area where we do not match. The literary world doesn't necessarily match the world around us. And it's an area that we definitely need to work on. Did you see more releases in 2021 from authors of color or stories that included main characters or protagonists of color? And Rachel, I'll send that to your way as well.
Sure. Definitely there is progress in the publishing world, as well as what we're buying for the library system, in really looking for, as you mentioned, both the diverse characters, but also written by diverse authors. And we're talking not only about racial diversity, we are seeing a lot more, especially picture books with characters that might have different needs, like being in a wheelchair, or kids that wear glasses, or just seeing a much wider representation of the differences among us in the books that we are buying and that are available to buy. Another different diversity that we try to look for in books are maybe socioeconomic diversity. So there are more picture books, for example, about moms that work, or there's fun books that have recently come out about kids that have parents that work the night shift. So we're seeing really that diversity in so many ways. Racial is definitely one of those, but other different abilities, different family makeups, all of those are evident, especially in our picture books. We also are seeing in our young adult book releases a big push for LGBTQ plus characters and situations. So we're always looking for books where the reader can see themselves reflected in what they are reading, and also so that readers can be exposed to different types of people other than themselves. So we like to say in the library world that like books should be both windows and mirrors into different lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really exciting that you're seeing some more of that, and hopefully that trend will continue. And I'm sure as librarians that you're sort of on the cutting edge of seeing what's coming through the door and then also what people are really looking for. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. So I want to start with some recommendations. So Rebecca, could you maybe share some of your favorite picture books from 2021 and that you would recommend to anyone, whether it be just to purchase for your home library or perhaps give as a gift?
Absolutely. So I have a 7-month-old. So I went on a big buying spree for him. So I have a board book, which just means that the pages are thicker. It's especially appropriate for little tiny little ones that maybe want to put it in their mouth, give it a little taste. So this is Grow, and the author is Theodore Henry. I just thought this was a really cool looking book.
It's beautiful.
It has, really, really pretty images inside. And it's just very sweet. I waited for you like a sprout from a seed, it says. And actually the part of this book that made me pick it is that at the top, I don't know if you can see, it has these really cool like leaves that like come out with each page, and that's just really different and kind of neat. So it's like a love letter from a parent to a child, and it's just a unique board book format that is really pretty also. And again, diverse characters on the front, which is something that I always look for in picture books.
That sounds like a great gift, for a first holiday or even an upcoming baby shower or something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So this is fun. And it's just especially with children's books, when you're talking about gifting, it's just nice to kind of get away from Dr. Seuss and like what someone's going to get like 5 copies of at their baby shower or baby's first Christmas. So it's fun and interesting to be able to gift something that maybe they've never seen before.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So my next picture book is Wonderful You. It's would be a perfect shower gift or a gift to a woman who's pregnant or a couple who's maybe expecting. It's rhyming, which is one of the things that I always look for in a picture book. And the images are of different families inside. And like Rachel was talking about with diversity, there's a dad in a wheelchair, there's a same-sex couple, there's all different socioeconomic backgrounds and races and like et cetera, featured in the illustrations, which I love. And it's just very simple text, and it's very sweet. And then the last one is called Jazz for Lunch by Jarrett Dapier. And this has, it's just like a simple rhyming text with a lot of onomatopoeia. And the illustrations are just really, really gorgeous. I don't know if you can see it.
Those are really pretty.
But the way it's written, it's just like almost like a rap or a rhyme. And at the back, I'm like a real sucker for like educational information in the back of books, even though this is just a picture book. But it has just like some intros to some famous jazz musicians and composers. So I always like that. So those are my picture book picks.
That's awesome. I love it. Aurelia, how about you? Do you have some picture book recommendations that you want to share?
Sure. I actually have one that I just found recently that is actually a children's nonfiction. So it's a little longer, but it's sort of in the vein of maybe The Giving Tree, but the tree is not cut down. And it is also kind of gives back throughout the young boy's life. He comes back to visit and he sees kind of how the tree creates a habitat for so many animals around it. So it's really lovely, and it has a ton of information in it as well. So kids that might be really into animals or bugs, the outdoors, any of that. So it is a really wonderful story, but then they have little spots in here with facts about like beavers or waterfowl. But I thought it was kind of a cool book about kind of stewardship, and if it's something you want to learn kind of together, like with your little one. So
what age range would you recommend for that?
So I would say, depending if they want to read it, I guess, independently. So I have a niece, she's probably, she's second grade. So she might enjoy this by herself, but it would kind of be fun to maybe enjoy like with a parent or a little older, because it just depends where your reader is. It is pretty wordy inside as well.
Gotcha.
So,
it looks beautiful. I love the illustrations.
Yeah, it's just very sweet. It's sweet and informative. So another one that is for maybe your first grade reader. This is actually a children's graphic novel. So it's very silly. It's a fiction book, but it does have some info about little tidbits about bugs, and it's also just really silly and hilarious. And so graphic novels are really awesome for, maybe the more reluctant chapter book reader. And this one is pretty simple. So again, it might be fun for them to read as they start to read independently on their own too, and also practice reading aloud to you. It's super silly, so they might want to read it to you as well. So
that's a great suggestion.
Yeah. So, and then I do have another little bit older, like juvenile chapter book. I don't know if you want to get into that.
Yeah, let's jump right in.
But I have Babysitters Club. So if you enjoyed these as a child, and maybe you're looking for reminiscence on that with something you're buying for your probably later elementary age students, they have been remade as graphic novels, and they're just much more kind of contemporary themes. They're very popular. There are several that came out this year, so it's a nice long series, and there's lots to choose from. So
I think you bring up a really good point about contemporary. It's something as a parent of children, I realized, I want to share the love that I had of, this story or that story. And then I go back to read it and I'm like, oh God, some of those things are just like terrible. Like, there's some, really racist parts to them, or like, oh, there's some terrible discrimination in some other way. And I'm like, we can't read this book. So it makes me realize the work that needs to be done as a parent. And so having your suggestion of, hey, here's a re-release of this book that we love growing up, but that's maybe covering some of these issues in a more thoughtful way. And as parents, we feel like we can really get behind it. So that's a really, really helpful tip.
Yeah, they're great. And they, again, we're seeing more diversity in the characters as well, which is really great, because some of the topics might be really universal, but again, we don't all look the same. So it's nice to see that in them as well.
Absolutely. Rachel, how about you? Do you want to share some favorite picture books or early readers?
Sure. I'll talk really quickly about,
we're just, there we go. Yeah, perfect.
My little blurring is hard there. So this is called Hello Star. And it is written by Stephanie Lucianovic. So this is a little bit longer of a picture book, but it is about a girl that when she's really little, I'm messing up the blur there. A girl who, when she's very little, sees a star in the sky and learns about how the light from the star travels to your eye, and how stars may be dying even as the light is reaching you. And she promises that the star that she's never going to leave it. So as she grows up, she does a lot of research about the sun and planets and stars, and really becomes very interested in those kind of topics that are also current today with the the different eclipses and things that are happening. So your child might be interested in this too. And in the end, she grows up to be an astronaut. And when she goes into space, she sees a star that she believes to be her star, and is able to talk to it closer up than she did when she was little. So it's a really sweet story, but also there's a lot of science involved in this, and you can take it a lot of different places, and it might spark conversation about things that your own child might want to research then. So this is called Hello Star. There we go. The other one that I wanted to talk about was a chapter book. So this is called Amari and the Night Brothers. So this is the first in a series. Are you familiar with this, Janet? Okay.
I've heard a little bit about it, and I'm excited to hear more.
So this is the first book in the Supernatural Investigation series, and actually the second book is already out. This one came out in January, but the sequel is already out. So this is like described kind of as like Artemis Fowl meets Men in Black meets Harry Potter. So there's a lot of elements in this that, especially if your child has read through all of those series already, Artemis Fowl and Percy Jackson and Harry Potter, they might be interested in this series. So this one has a girl main character as well, which is a little bit different for all those series that I just named have male main characters. So this is good, but this is for about like grades 3 to 6 or so. But it's the girl named Amari is looking for her lost brother, and she comes upon this suitcase which has an invitation in it to this summer camp. And when she goes to the summer camp, all these different types of magical things happen, and she becomes equipped to better look for her brother through all these different skills that she's learning. So this is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston.
That sounds fantastic. Rebecca, I'd love to hear a little bit more about, still in the kids book realm, but any recommendations for sort of young adult. So within, like the Night Brothers or something like that, or even early readers, if you have some of those.
I have this.
Oh,
it's
nice.
called Maya and the Robot by Eve L. Ewing. And it's about a kid who's into science and is kind of lonely at school. Her friends are in a different class this year, which is so relatable. She comes upon this like unfinished robot in a family friend's house, and she decides to finish it and like bring it to life for her science fair project. And of course, like lots of crazy things happen. But the robot ends up having like a personality, like he can talk and walk. And it's really charming, and it has some great little pictures in it too, if I can find one. Yeah. So the main
Nice.
character is a Black girl, which is nice and refreshing to see. But I would recommend this for ages 8 to 12 or
Nice.
so. It's a good chapter book. Not too many words on the page, but definitely like a more advanced reader. So, and then, so after this, I just have a YA.
Yeah.
I don't know if that, are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready for YA?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So this was actually recommended to me by a good friend. It's called The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley, and it's a Reese's book club pick. It's about an Indigenous girl, and it takes place in an Indigenous community, which is really interesting to learn about some of the issues there. But there's a murder and there's a love story. So if anyone who's into YA thrillers would definitely be interested in this. So yeah, I'm excited to read it. I heard really glowing reviews. So
And I know so many adults that just love to read young adult fiction, and it's just so good. So
absolutely,
I
that's a
think
great
that's a
point.
reminder that don't be shy, dive in.
Absolutely. Adults love to read YA. And so this would be a great gift for a high school student, a college student, or an adult. It's
Mhm.
definitely not like just for teens.
That's such a good reminder.
Yeah.
Aurelia, how about you? What are maybe some sort of other young adult or even a little bit younger in terms of as we're transitioning from away from picture books and into more serious readers?
So I don't have another maybe younger one handy, but I will say that just about YA in general, that if you haven't browsed a YA shelf in a while, like every single one of them is beautiful and intriguing. So it's definitely hard to pick, narrow one down to select because they're just like all so amazing looking. One that I couldn't get an actual physical copy of, but I wanted to talk about because I was kind of looking up things that might be in the vein of if you really enjoyed Dune as well, because obviously the movie came out and everyone's excited about it, but it's a YA. And we have it actually digitally. So it's called The Gilded Ones. So we have it as an audiobook and as an ebook, which is awesome. So obviously I'm a big audiobook listener. So, remember, if you can't get a physical book for a gift for somebody, maybe you send them, an Audible listen or something like that. That's just kind of a fun gift idea as well. But it is definitely a kind of coming of age story. She is part of a system where essentially when she's coming of age, they basically test to see what color your blood is, and if it's red, you will become part of this kind of part of their culture and everything. And her blood is gold, and that makes her an outcast, and it's just kind of her journey through that. But it looks really fabulous, and again, it's just one of our many very beautiful YA reads here that I would recommend. And then another one, just if you haven't, don't forget that there are already just part of the blood. This is the second one, I believe, for the Shadow and Bone series. So if you watched the series and you haven't read them yet, definitely pick them up, or maybe somebody and you want to buy them the books if they liked the series.
Yeah, that's also such a great idea. Your comment about Audible books, because I hear so common. It's such a common thing. It's like, oh, I don't have time to read, but I do listen to a lot of, podcasts or the radio or whatever. And what a brilliant gift for maybe someone who's challenging to buy a gift for what a fantastic gift. And then also too, a plug for the library that you can get your Audible books from the library. A reminder that it's not just physical books. I think sometimes forget that.
Yeah, our Libby app is great for that. So you have ebooks, the audiobooks, magazines. So it's
all the
really
good
great.
stuff.
Yes.
All right, let's get into some adults. So Rachel, let's start with you. Some of your favorite adult books, and that could, run the gamut for anything in terms of genre. So what do you feel like 2021 brought us in terms of some good reads?
Yeah, it was definitely hard to narrow down the adult books. I think all three of us had trouble doing that. The first one I wanted to talk about was, and now I'm backwards.
No, you're great. You're great.
Oh, I am? Okay. So this one is called Major Labels, A History of Popular Music in 7 Genres. So rock, R&B, country, punk, hip hop, dance, and pop. So this is a really new book. It talks about the history of music over the last 50 years. So not the whole history of music. Obviously, this book is only this big, but over the last 50 years. But it talks about the artists, about the songs. It's about songs that people generally agree that they love or that they don't like so much, and like who's kind of deciding that. So I think it's a really interesting history. I also think that this would be like a great pair with, you would have to do a little bit of homework on the book, but you could make a Spotify playlist to go with it. It
Ooh.
talks about so many specific music songs in here. So that would be a great pair for a gift. So that's Major Labels by Khalifa Sane. Secondly, I wanted to talk about this book. This is one of my favorite books of the year, Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. So this is set in 1970s Baltimore. So there's like a lot of recognizable streets and places, landmarks that you know. So I like that because it's kind of identifiable. But this is a coming of age book. It was really funny. And it's about, you can see it's about music too. It's about finding yourself, figuring out who you are in the context of like who your parents want you to be. But this one is like a little bit leveled up from a young adult read. So this is Mary Jane. I also wanted to mention another tie-in with the TV show. So pretty much everybody likes Great British Bake Off. So this is Nadia, who won a bunch of seasons ago, but this is her new cookbook called Nadia Bakes. This is one of those like comforting reads we were talking about before. There's so many cookbooks come out every year, but even this year more than normal, because a lot of people are rediscovering that they like to cook or bake. So Nadia Bakes is definitely one of my recommendations. The pictures are just beautiful. It's really a good read. And I will talk about one more that just recently came out. So this is Amanda Gorman, who read the poem at the inauguration. So this is her new book of poetry that just came out, I think last week. So Call Us What We Carry. And this is just a beautiful read. It's kind of a keepsake, but also if you're looking for contemporary poetry by a person of color, this book by Amanda Gorman would be a great gift. And she also has a picture book of the poem that she read at the inauguration that came out earlier in the year. So that would be a great gift as well.
Ah, those are some great recommendations. How about you, Rebecca? What were some of your favorites from 2021?
Well, so let's see. I have a couple over here that let's see. All right, I have a couple. So this one is called People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. And this is just kind of, like we were talking about earlier today, one of the trends for publishing this year, but also with what people are looking to read. This is a great like beach read. Actually, one of the, this author also wrote a book called Beach Read. So it's just lighthearted and funny, and it's an easy read. Like escapism has, I think, been kind of a big theme. So that's that one. The next one that I have is actually not a 2021 release. However, it has been getting a lot of attention lately because it's been banned a lot. So, and that's something that I'm always very interested in. If people don't want me to read it, I think that's probably something that I want to read. So this is by Jacqueline Woodson. It's called Red at the Bone. She won the National Book Award. She's an African-American author. It takes place in Brooklyn. And it's just about actually a unplanned pregnancy and kind of the rippling effects on not just her life, but her family's life, her partner's life, and just the families. And they're from different socioeconomic classes. And it's just a really fantastic read. And again, it's been banned. So
who's banning the book?
I like about it.
Yeah. So who's banning the book, and why? Is it because of the abortion content?
I'm not sure exactly. Rachel, can you speak to that?
It's been on just a lot of the lists. There's been a lot of talk both in Texas and Virginia and other school systems to get this book amongst many others pulled from the high school libraries. And it is because of some of that more sensitive content that Rebecca mentioned. So, but Jacqueline Woodson is an author that we have a ton of books written by her at the library, and we generally find that she's a very popular author. So we think that this is a good recommendation. And sometimes, you know, even if people, if you're reading it just to find out what all the hype is about, that's a good reason too, because we're just part of reading is like educating ourselves about other people and other cultures and different thoughts. And so this book that Rebecca mentioned can do that for you.
I love it. I love it. Rebecca, you're making librarians seem like really edgy and kind of naughty. I love it.
Well, I mean, really, in many ways, we are. We, as a profession, we believe in access to materials. So just because there's a book that maybe isn't for you, that's totally okay. But it might be really important to have on the shelf for someone else. So that's having the option to be able to check out what interests you and what is meaningful to you and what you need to read is very important to us. So
Absolutely. That was really exciting. Aurelia, how about you? What are some of your recommendations in adult literature?
Yeah, so actually one that is on my actually to read list. I have not read it yet. I might recommend it to my book club next week. It's called Wendy Darling, and it's definitely a darker look and a reimagining of Wendy's actual experience in Neverland. And now Wendy is grown. She has her own daughter. And as her daughter is coming of age, Peter Pan comes back to take her daughter, Jane. So Wendy has to return to Neverland to save her daughter and also kind of face some of the dark stuff that maybe she faced while she was in Neverland. So it's kind of I'm excited for kind of the reimagining of it. Also the female kind of being in charge, the protagonist of that particular story. So I'm excited to read this one. And I think it would be an interesting fantasy read for anyone who is interested in kind of that genre. So or who might be interested in kind of a retelling of a different side to a beloved fairy tale. So, another one, because I'm a David Sedaris fan and always have been, this year was, and again, this is an audiobook, and if you've ever listened to him read his books aloud, it's great. But this is his diaries, 2003 to 2020. It's called A Carnival Snackery because, you know, he always has an amusing title. So you know who in your life likes David Sedaris. So this is always a easy buy for that person that you know. So and then another one that I really enjoyed as well, it was definitely sort of unexpected, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I forgot to say that the Wendy Darling is by A.C. Wise. But this one was great. It's about a young woman who is a writer, and she works at a magazine. She kind of only has fluff pieces, and she gets approached by Evelyn Hugo's people, and she was a famous movie star, and she gets this opportunity kind of out of the blue to write this woman's life story, which ends up being a very unexpected love story. And it sort of is a mystery of like why she selected this particular writer to write her story, and that all kind of comes together at the end. But it was really fabulous. I couldn't wait to sit down and read it. So I definitely read it pretty quickly. So it's a good one.
That's always a sign of a good book. So Rachel, I wanted to ask you, what do you see coming up in 2022? Are there any releases that you're really looking forward to, or any trends that you're seeing on the horizon?
I think, first of all, we're going to see more of what we saw this year, those comforting, quick, easy kind of beach read type books. So Rebecca mentioned the book Beach Read and People You Meet on Vacation. So that author also has another book coming out in just a couple months, and that's called Book Lovers. So, I mean, I think we could all agree that that already sounds good. Another one I wanted to mention was a lot of people read The Guest List by Lucy Foley, which came out a couple of years ago. And she has a new book coming out in early 2022 called The Paris Apartment. And finally, we have a really lovely local author, Erica Roebuck, who you might have heard of. And she, even when I worked at the Crofton Library 15 years ago, I remember her coming in researching her first book, but she has a new book coming out called Sisters of the Night, which is about World War II resistance fighters that are women. And that sounds really good. I think along with what we have seen this past year and the sequels to other books, we're going to continue to see a lot of digital reads. I'm glad we were able to talk about the digital downloadables that the library have, but that also that you could buy because there's a lot of supply chain issues around everything, and that includes publishing. So there is shortages of paper, and they're using different glue for the books and all kinds of differences for publishing that have held up some of those releases that we're really anticipating. So there are definitely going to be more downloadable options, and everybody should consider those. And if you need help figuring out how to download, we are always able to help do that at the library. But I think that digital space is just going to continue to grow as we move forward in publishing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My last question, Rachel, is just a little bit about discoveries. And if you could tell sort of the audience, if they don't already know about discoveries, why and how are you different, and what's going on there these days?
Sure. So Discoveries, the library at the mall. We have been open for 3.5 years at Westfield Annapolis Mall. We opened our huge new space last year in early 2020, just before we shut down for the pandemic. So we are really getting used to our new space and really growing into it. We do the most amount of programming of the entire library system. So there's something for everyone, even if you're not looking for a book or a DVD here. We have a lot of programs, and we're always helping people learn what the library can be for you. Another thing that you mentioned at the start is that we do have a community pantry at Discoveries that's open on Saturday mornings from 10 to noon, and we do distribution for free of diapers, hygiene products, and menstrual products for anybody in the community who is in need. And we run that through donations from our other generous community members. So that's another great way that we are supporting the ecosystem in Anne Arundel County, besides having the library materials available for them. So there really is something for everyone at the library, whether it's a book, a movie, a program, or you need a pack of diapers because you're a little bit short this month. We're here for you. We do book recommendations all the time on our social media. You can follow Discoveries on Instagram at Discoveries AACPL. And if you have any questions about the books we talked about today, or want specific recommendations, like if you think, like I do all the time, what am I going to buy for my dad for this Christmas? We're happy to help. And we also post about our programs so that you can stay on top of the things that are happening at our branch and in the library system. The library system also just unveiled our new website this past week. So it's definitely user-friendly and looks beautiful. So you should be able to find information about our branch or about any of the other 15 branches on aacpl.net.
Well, that's fantastic. Such an incredible resource. There's clearly so much going on all the time. Well, thank you to all of you, to Rachel Myers, Rebecca Hofleitner, Aurelia Larrimore of Anne Arundel County Public Library. And then thank you also to all of our viewers and listeners. Make sure that you visit ChesapeakeFamily.com for up-to-date local information on home, health, and living for today's Maryland parent. This episode will be archived on ChesapeakeFamily.com in video and podcast format. And next week, we'll be talking with Dr. Shadana Harris about how to cope with holiday stress. I'm Janet Jefferson with Chesapeake Family Life and Third